Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Amy Williams, and I am here with my friend Diane Osbon, who texted me actually saying, "Oh my gosh, I have so many things to tell you." And I thought, well, she was talking to me about a class that I facilitate called Access Consciousness Foundation. And I just thought it would be fun to have you tell people what your experience has been after taking this class. So I'm just going to let you talk.
Wow. Wow, it was phenomenal. So I was kind of resistant to the class because, well, the cost, and then it was part of the requirement though for me to take, because I am an access bars facilitator, and it was one of my requirements, which I kind of resisted. Now I get why he does the requirements. It really pushes you to move forward, which you had said, you know. I didn't really even know what the class was about, honestly. I just knew it was a requirement. So once I got there, I mean, I started clearing 5 minutes in to the class. The tears started rolling, right? Things that I had needed to released. And the whole class was a surprise to me. After the class, I felt like I'd been run over by a truck. I had changed so much energy. And in 2 days at the class, Amy and I had cleared some issues with a friend of mine. We had done some clearings, and he's the love of my life. I've loved him since I was 19, and we've never really gotten together as a couple yet. And 2 days after the class, I woke up and my heart completely opened up, and all I wanted to do was be in his energy for 3 days. That's the feeling I got. So I called him. I told him what happened. And I said, would you consider going somewhere with me? And he said, absolutely. I would consider that. Well, we went on our trip. That's the first date we've had. And we went on our trip. And he actually told me that he also felt something shift from that class. He felt it too. So it wasn't just me that made the shift. That energy, what we cleared, helped him as well. So
That's
we're
fascinating.
officially dating. Yeah,
Oh, good for you. Well, and it's
I
interesting because
know.
hadn't he popped into town because you came from one part of the state, he came from farther away, and he had popped into
Right,
town and you guys got to just hang out and have dinner and stuff while he was
right,
here. But so
right.
he was around you during the energy shift, even though he wasn't in class.
That's true. Yeah, that is.
Interesting.
Yeah, that is accurate. Yeah,
Interesting.
and we'd also done some clearing on my daughter, and cleared some things from her. Uh, and I just saw her. I hadn't seen her for 2 months. I hadn't talked to her for 2 months. I just saw her in a restaurant, and she came up to me and gave me a hug and held me for a while and said she missed me. Now that totally shifted from where it was. Totally. I mean,
Yeah.
we weren't even speaking.
Yeah,
Okay.
I remember
So
that where there was
yeah,
just when you saw each other, there was a, "Oh, I'm going over here."
yeah, it was not pretty. And
Wow.
yeah,
Well, that's interesting.
it was very interesting.
And what
Yeah.
else is possible now with, oh,
Yeah. And
wow.
and the money thing, I'm starting to teach, I'm gonna start teaching in Omaha. So that shifted for me.
Gotcha.
I've thought about it for over a year or two, but just all of a sudden I was like, okay, I need to go. No.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't it fascinating what happens when you really step into that playground of infinite possibilities when the lens that we tend to look from is limited choices, limited abilities, limited possibilities. And what, so just to give anybody who is taking the time to hang out with us and watch this, just to give them a little bit of a frame of a reference, Access Consciousness is a body of work that has a ton of different tools to clear blocks in your life, to work with pain and challenges like that, and to open the space for possibilities. And they're all tools that are about consciousness and awareness and becoming aware of what you're aware of, essentially. And so my job as an access consciousness certified facilitator in a class like the one Diane's talking about is to ask questions and then basically teach people the tools and use the tools to clear the blocks to having whatever it is that the person desires. Not from my point of view of, oh, you should go teach in Omaha. I don't think I knew anything about that. So I would never have said that or had that point of view. But it's about clearing the blocks to the possibilities that the participant or the client or the student, whatever you want to call it in whatever situation, can then have it as something choosable in their life. And so what Diane's talking about, she and I are both something called access bars facilitators and practitioners. And access bars is a technique that a person gets on your massage table or even sits back in an easy chair and you touch points on the head, and it helps things like what we're talking about, energetic blocks, clear from the body through something called bars points, which it forms from a point on the head where we would touch. It forms a bar of energy across the head. So in a delicious 3.5 days, like Diane went through with a group of other people, you also get a lot of hands-on body work. And let's talk just a little bit about what you said about it. And you did a great job, just sort of like, it was a short bit, but it was true. And we know it happened. Like you were like, whoa, what just happened? I'm so tired and stuff like that after the class.
Yeah.
We do a lot of hands-on body work in the class to help your body stay caught up to how much your being is changing. Because, your being, even your thoughts and emotions, sometimes move energy faster than what your body does, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And things don't always have to clear with tears, although that was very vulnerable of you to share that. Like, when energies come up, sometimes it comes out your face in liquid.
Well, I was wanting to cry. I just couldn't cry. And then I got in the class and boom, here it came. It was
That's right.
great.
You said you hadn't been able to cry. I forgot about
Yeah,
that.
because I had that hailstorm. It wiped out my garden, and I knew I needed to cry about it, but I couldn't. So
Yeah. So I guess for anyone watching who is pondering stepping into really choosing more for themselves, is there anything else that you have to say about any of this that
well, at the class, I never dreamed I could be in a class for 4 days, especially in the spring. That's my time to be outside in the garden. I never wanted to be in a class ever for 4 days around other people. I'm kind of a loner. I don't, and so I never dreamed, and it went so fast, and it was so fun, and it was all of it was, of course, the lunches and the camaraderie. It was just, it was wonderful. It was just what I needed.
cool?
Yeah.
That's cool.
It didn't seem like 4 days. It felt like a day. It went fast.
And the class at that time was set for 4 days. And that one, as well as often happens, we finished in 3.5 days, just like
Yeah.
we'd gotten through the book. Everybody had felt like they got everything they wanted out of it. And now the class has been changed to 3.5 days, which is really a gift, because have you ever been in a class that like people push to stay for longer and longer, and the
Sure.
class had been done for a while? It's just not
Yeah.
that fun. So
Yeah.
yeah, and you also mentioned the price, and I want to address that just a little bit. uh I saw a video a couple of people that I know did years ago, and when I originally came to this work, I did what you did. I needed to renew my bars facilitator license, which means be able to continue to teach. So I waited because it was, I think it might have been a 2-year renewal at that point, or is it, no, it is every 2 years, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I waited and took foundation, and so I could renew. And then I waited and then took a 3-day body class, which there's one of those coming up in Nebraska, and they're offered all over the world also. But foundation is the prerequisite for that. So it's available to you or anybody else who has had a foundation this year. The video that I'm talking about, these people were talking about someone who had taken foundation 12 times. 12 times.
Whoa.
Like they just kept taking it because it was such a phenomenal way to get in a room and have one-on-one facilitation, and the time with others where whatever somebody else in the room is asking is that law of the universe, ask and receive. Whatever somebody else is asking to change, those clearings will work on you also. And for me, being actively engaged in this body of work for a little over, I think, 12 years now, I'll find that little things will pop open in my awareness when I hear them when I hear them later, because after you clear things, you are different and you will be aware of things differently. So I'm still learning more from the basic tools. It's phenomenal. And so I get it now, but before I was looking at it very linearly, as opposed to looking at it like, oh, what would this create for my life? I was like, I have to take it for this, so it makes sense to take it, in 2 years. But and by the way, just for you, you do get it half price if you take it within a year of the date that we took it. So you might want to think about
Okay.
that for down the road. Which is a great value. And then it keeps you up on, what's going on.
Right.
But in that video of these friends, and I don't know, it's just a funny video. I don't know if it's around anymore, but I could send it to you. One gal asked the other, is there a price you could put on if somebody were to pay you not to take your first bars class? Is
Wow.
the price?
There's that class is priceless for what it did for
Right?
me.
Right. And so
In both of those relationships, honestly.
yeah. Well, and I asked you about bars, which you teach also. So,
Yeah.
and so to talk about foundation, is there a price that you could put on it to take the
No.
foundation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I love the bars. And after the class, I arranged with a client of mine or student of mine from my bars class, and her and I have been doing weekly trades
Oh,
because
that's
I
so good.
saw, you said it, but I finally saw the benefits of doing it regularly. And I can tell when I'm needing to have my bars run. And so she's my neighbor down the road. So we're trading every week. It's
Oh,
been a blessing.
I'm so glad to hear that. Yeah, it makes a total difference in my life. Because so, like, if you ever feel like you're getting stressed, things are getting thick,
Yeah.
they're getting
Yeah.
heavy, you're getting brain fog, or you're not sleeping well, or you're just snippety snappity, like, I think I could use my bars run.
Exactly.
If you're in a relationship, you can make an agreement with your partner. If one of you is getting snippety snappity,
He
um,
let me do the bars on him. He's never let me touch him, do any kind of energy work ever. And I got to do the bars on him every night for his PTSD. I thought that was just
oh,
amazing. That was
wow.
amazing. He could
It,
feel it. He felt it out the top of his head when I was finishing.
oh, that's so cool.
I
That's
know.
amazing. And what would it take to teach him to run bars too?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah.
That's what I said.
So yeah, so you can run bars on each other's, you can run bars on friends, you can get bar sessions from practitioners all over the world, foundations offered all over the world, and what else is possible for you listeners and your lives, and what might Diane or I contribute with the tools that we have available, whether it's an Access Bars class, a body process class. Oh my gosh, we should talk about our body process day coming up in a
Yeah.
couple months. So I noticed that we do these, I tend to do a lot of them every few years. Massage therapists relicense every couple of years. And so I think about these 3-hour classes because sometimes people like a little taste. So a body process, bars is the first hands-on body process in Access Consciousness. And it is an 8-hour class, full day. In any class, you gift and receive once or twice. So you learn how to give it, you get to receive it. So these body processes are 3-hour classes. I'm doing a bunch of them in the coming months. I usually do one every month or sometimes every couple of months. But coming soon, I'm going to go and do one that Diane's going to host. We're going to do 2 in a day. I've got a few other things like that. You can get a deal on it at amywilliams.us. And by the way, Diane, for people who want to look you up, Healing Arts. What's your website name again?
HealingArtsWithDiane.com.
Thank you for reminding me. Yeah, so Diane teaches bars class and she's in Western Nebraska. And what else is possible for people that we know who can receive from this work and change lives?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is. It really is. It is amazing.
So yeah, it's hard to imagine that just laying down on a massage table and seriously, for you and I who are not even who are massage therapists, but in this instance, people don't even take their clothes off, and it's deeply relaxing just from touching points on the head.
Exactly.
So thank you. Anything else that you wanted to say? I think you really summed up a lot and told me more.
Yeah, it I just loved it. I really did. I mean, some of it's confusing, honestly, but like a lot of it is we're not supposed to figure it out with our brain. It's more about kind of shaking things up so that you move into a different paradigm. So it does definitely makes a lot of difference. I loved it.
I love hearing your lightness and seeing your glow and knowing that it changed things for you, even though you might have needed a little extra rest for a day or so. But I'm so glad you're getting your
Oh,
bars
I did.
regularly. Yay.
Yeah.
All right, sister. Well, thank you so much. I'm going to go
Thank
ahead and stop
you.
recording and we'll see you later.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.